Hi guys, I'm Lexi from The Traveling Writer, and today I'm going to show you how I decide to follow someone on Twitter. This is important not only because it'll give you some ideas of what you should look at when you try and decide whether to follow other people, but also because it'll help you get a better sense for what other people are looking at when they check out your profile, so you can do a better job and get more followers. So one of the ways I check out new people or I find new people to follow on Twitter is by looking at my at mentions. If someone's at mentioned me, I'm more likely to hop over to their profile and see what they're about and maybe follow them back. So today I'm going to click on my own handle and pick on myself so I'm not picking on somebody else. But say I was trying to decide whether to follow Alexis Grant if she had at mentioned me on Twitter. I'd click over, and the first thing I would look at here is the ratio of how many people she's following to how many followers she has. You always want the followers number to be bigger than the following number. And that's because it just shows that someone's interesting, right? That's kind of Twitter's valuation of how interesting you are. So, for example, if you think of someone famous like Oprah, she's probably only following a few people, but a lot of people are following her back. And so her number of followers is a lot bigger than how many people she's following. And that kind of shows that she's important, she's influential, she's really interesting. This doesn't always apply. And so, for example, like I know some journalists who follow everyone back because they want to open that line of direct communication. And someone can't DM you, they can't send you a direct message unless you're following them back, right? So in some cases, some people follow everyone for that reason. Or say you're new to Twitter and your numbers are really low, both your numbers of following and your numbers of followers are both low. In that case, it's difficult to have more followers than you have people following you, right? But in general, if you click over to someone's profile and they're following 1,200 people and only 500 people are following them back, that's a good indication that maybe they're not super interesting or they're not tweeting about things that could be valuable. It doesn't always mean you don't want to follow them, but gives you a good sense of how everyone else values them. You can also look here at the number of listed. Listed means this is how many people have put you on their lists, and someone puts you on a list when you constantly tweet interesting and valuable information. So if this number is high, say about 10% of the followers number or more, then that probably means that the person is putting out interesting information and you might want to follow them for that reason. So after looking at this initial number and just taking a quick glance at it to see whether the followers number is bigger than the following number, then I look at the person's bio. And in the bio, I'm looking to see, A, if I have anything in common with this person, and B, whether they're interesting. And you can tell that by just kind of quickly glancing right at the bio. Next, I would scroll down and look at the person's last 3 tweets. And this is important because you're not going to see the person's entire timeline of tweets unless you click over to their profile page, like their full profile. If you just click on their name, you're just going to get this kind of summary, right? And so you only see the last 3 tweets, which can be a good indication of what the person tweets about. So you want to look to see, is this person tweeting valuable information with links? Or are they just writing about what they had for breakfast or that their cat is sitting on their lap, right? Sometimes it's fine to have those tweets kind of interspersed in your Twitter feed, but you don't want it to be taking up your entire Twitter feed. So if the last 3 tweets are about yourself and invaluable, it's probably a good indication that someone might not want to follow you for that reason. And then lastly, once I've seen that, yes, okay, this person has 3 interesting tweets that aren't totally about themselves, that are valuable links that I might want to read about, sometimes I click over to their full profile, which, let's see, I'm going to do that here, and see whether that person has any at replies in their feed. Because there are some people who only tweet out information on Twitter, and that can be helpful if you're interested in the information. But I really like to connect with people who also interact, who someone is going to talk back to me, who's going to interact with me on Twitter and maybe become a friend or someone I really know. So if in those last 3 tweets they're only informational tweets like mine are here, I would probably click over to the profile and see whether there are any @replies, whether they're actually talking to anyone in their stream. And you can see here I am. So there's a couple of different @replies. So that should give you a good indication, a good idea of how you might want to think about following someone on Twitter and what other people are looking at when they're trying to decide to follow you. Of course, if someone is really interesting, or they're an editor you want to connect with, or a literary agent, or somebody that you want to notice you, even if their Twitter stream sucks, you might still want to follow them, right? But this is just a good way to try to decide whether to follow someone that you know nothing about, who's just kind of popped up in your feed or who has @mentioned you on Twitter. Hope that's helpful. Thanks for stopping by.